Wright, and Spike Cohen.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike, David, Copper Hoarder, Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
Oh, man, the penny pincher himself. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this penny pinching episode of Muddy Waters of Freedom.
No matter which platform you're watching us on or listening to us on, we thank you, and to all of you, we say, Bula Vanaka.
Bula Vanaka. And of course, be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment. I already said share. Like other people's comments. Do all the stuff that boosts us in the algorithm. And if you are subscribing to this on YouTube, be sure to not just subscribe, but hit that bell next to it. We want your phone to literally explode with notifications every single time we go live or put anything up. We don't want you to miss anything. We don't even want you to have to wait. We want, as soon as it's up there, for you to find out, along with all the other people that have hit the bell. And of course, be sure to become a subscriber to our special feed today by going to anchor.fm/muddywaters/subscribe. You get access to our, every weekend we have a special episode just for subscribers. We also have discounts at the Muddy Waters Media Store, as well as many other really great goodies like a ad-free listening and viewing experience on Spotify and Anchor and every other platform. If you just add us to the RSS, we'll send you how to do it. But if you I don't know how that works, but we will tell you, or someone else will tell you, because I don't know.
Yeah,
But
Anchor will tell you
today. Anchor will tell you.
Anchor will email you instructions exactly how to do it.
Yes, because we don't know, but they do. Anchor knows. Anchor.fm/muddywaters/subscribe. It's only $10 a month. We'd love to have you become a part of it.
Yes. And that brings us to...
That brings us to the Mudwater Mushroom Coffee Replacement Cacao Rapid Fire segment, brought to you by Mudwater. I know what you're thinking, folks. My God, I am sick of this ad. Well, tough. Because if you want to not ever drink coffee again, then you could instead drink this. What does it have in it? Well, it's got masala chai, cacao, rapid fire, and segment, and literally nothing else. And then it's if you go to muddywatersofreedom.com/mud, you can get it today. You can get a starter pack today. It tastes like a segment. It tastes like a segment.
It tastes like a segment. That's the best way. It tastes like a segment.
Breaking news on this segment. Ayman Al-Zawahiri, the head of the Taliban, the head of Al-Qaeda, has been confirmed as killed by the CIA, finally putting, at long last, an end to the decades-long terror regime of Ronald Reagan.
Joe Biden confirmed that Ayman Al-Zawahiri was killed in a drone strike from a speech from the White House on yesterday. And senior Haqqani Taliban figures were aware of Zawahiri. How do you say this?
Zawahiri.
This is how breaking it is. I didn't even read these notes.
Yes.
Zawahiri's presence in the area, the official said Monday, in a clear violation of the Doha Agreement, and even took steps. Oh, how dare he violate?
How dare they?
How dare he violate the Doha Agreement?
The Doha. Oh. Well, it's all over now.
It
is actually for him.
It is, for him. Now. And even took steps to conceal his presence after Saturday's successful strike.
Yeah, they rapidly relocated members of his family. They didn't want people to know that he was there. Now, it is a total violation of the Doha Terrorist-Free Zone Sign Agreement. They completely ignored it. Interestingly enough, right next to the no terrorists allowed in this zone sign is another one saying no CIA drone strikes allowed in this zone. Just blatant violations all the way around.
Over the place.
But yes, no, the head of Al-Qaeda, which is kind of the Microsoft of terrorist organizations, with ISIS being the I guess the Google of terror networks. This has really been on the decline for a while. The
Bing.
Taliban, their main
Al Qaeda's Bing.
what's that?
Al Qaeda's Bing.
They're Al Qaeda is Bing. Al Qaeda is the Bing of terror groups. Especially now. Actually, now they're the Inktomi of
they're the Internet Explorer.
They're the Ask Jeeves. They're the Ask Jeeves and the web crawler.
The Internet Explorer
Netscape, Net Zero. the Internet Explorer, RIP. The Net Zero of terror groups. And the Taliban's main fight is with ISIS. Obviously, and they were, I think, probably were hoping that they could get the band back together and try to fight against ISIS. The CIA said, no, you're not going to stop our new terror group we're sponsoring, so they killed Zawahiri. So, big ups. And speaking of death, the U.S. has had 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth after the GDP report confirmed what we said here. We said this would happen.
We've been saying this for months.
Yes.
We've been saying this since last quarter.
Yes. Yeah. But it's not a recession, and Corinne Jean-Pierre has explained that to us, right, Matt?
Yeah, the amount of mental gymnastics that she had to go through in order to explain this is just absolutely unbelievable. So here is everybody's favorite Fox News reporter, Pete Ducey, asking Corinne Jean-Pierre over whether or not this is a recession.
He said in 2008, of course, economists have a technical definition, which is of a recession, which is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth.
I can tell you this.
Yesterday he said 2 negative quarters of GDP growth is not the technical definition of a recession.
It is
What
not.
changed?
It is not.
Why did he say that
It
was?
is not. I can
What's the
I can
difference other than
speak
who the
to
president
I
is?
can speak to what he said yesterday in front of all of you, which is the last thing that you just repeated. There are many factors. There are many factors, economic factors and indicators to consider, and I will say that the textbook definition of recession is not 2 negative quarters of GDP. We have a strong labor market. We have business that's investing. We have consumers that are also very much investing and purchasing. That is incredibly important. We have 3.6 unemployment. You do not see that in a pre-recession, and you do not see that in a recession. So the factors that we are seeing right now, the economic indicators, does not show that we're in a recession. And I'll read, since you gave me some quotes, I'll give you some as well. In 2009, the St. Louis Fed said, while the popular definition of recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative real gross domestic product GDP growth, the NBER, which we have mentioned many times in this room, does not strictly abide by this designation. Instead, the committee broadly defines a recession as a significant decline in economic activity spreading across the economy, lasting more than a few months. NBER has been around since 1920. I'm going to move on. Okay.
I wonder why she stopped herself there.
The mental gymnastics that she has to go through every day is unbelievable. And the NBER, for anybody who doesn't know, is the 8 economists that we have referenced on this show that keep saying that we aren't in a recession. And they are the only 8 economists who are saying we are not in a recession.
Yeah, everyone, all underwriters, all banks, every institution right now is gearing up for a recession, which is why we're seeing a new round of bailouts in the form of the CHIPS Act and the Inflation Reduction Act and the what was the other one, the Science Act. It's bailouts for companies that know that their bottom line is about to get crushed, and it's because they know a recession's they know that a recession is here, and that the other lagging indicators. And to answer a question, yes, we do see high levels of employment in some recessions at the beginning because the malinvestment is still there, and we're just starting to see the effects. And especially what's driving that up is that the inflation has been so high, which has kept profits high, which has allowed for for the job market to be as competitive as it has. That's all going to begin to crumble, while inflation will still remain somewhat high.
especially as the Fed has been increasing rates. You're going to see that a lot of things across the board because of this. A lot banks aren't going to be lending as much. You're not going to be seeing as much money going out to your average investor. So they're going to stop purchasing as much. Prices will have to come down. That means that people will start losing their jobs, and we will feel the brunt of the recession.
Yes. Now, speaking of jobs, I think Karine Jean-Pierre may need a new one.
She might need a new. If she doesn't, she should.
For her mental health.
It really
for her sake,
is.
she needs a new job. God.
So, after the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas authorized Customs and Border Protection on Thursday to seal the openings near the Morelos Dam just west of downtown Yuma, the Democratic Party relied on KJP to answer questions about it live on the air.
Why is the Biden administration building a border wall in Arizona?
So we are not finishing the wall. We are cleaning up the mess the prior administration left behind in their failed attempt to build a wall. And I just want to be very, very clear here. On day one, we returned the money, the $8 billion the prior administration took from our military. We gave that back to the military for military families, for schools, for bases. That's what that money was being used. That's what it was taken away from. And so, again, what we're doing is cleaning up the mess that the prior administration has done.
But President Biden, when he was a candidate, said there will not be another foot of wall constructed in my administration. Yeah. So what changed?
We are not finishing the wall.
If walls work in that part of Arizona, is this the administration trying to get migrants to cross somewhere else, like in Texas? What is the plan?
We are not finishing a wall. We are cleaning up the mess that the prior administration made.
Wow.
We are trying to save lives. This is what the prior administration left behind that we are now cleaning up.
They left behind an unfinished wall.
Is this?
We are not finishing the wall.
By filling in, finishing?
We are not finishing the wall.
By filling in. Is this racist? Because in 2019, when the former guy was proposing a wall, you said that it was his racist wall. So how is this any different? I'm just having a hard time understanding how this is any different.
I'm not even sure how you get to your first question, to this question that you just asked me. I will say this: a border wall. I'm answering your question. A border wall is ineffective use of taxpayer dollars, so it's ineffective.
But they're building on
dollars that actually went to
it.
the military that the last administration, the prior president, took from the military, which took away from schools, which took away from military bases. That's what that money that he pulled away from to build this wall that he wanted, that is ineffective, by the way, which I just said.
Holy crap. I kind of feel bad for her, even though she did sign up, like she chooses to do this job.
Yeah, she applied. She knew what.
She believes that walls are racist and ineffective. Like, that's her belief. And that's what the administration was saying. Now they're in charge, or that's what candidate Joe Biden was saying. President Joe Biden is doing what President Obama and President Trump and President Bush and everyone before him are doing to continue building this wall. And so she has to say, they're building the wall. It's ineffective, by the way. They're cleaning up the mess left by the previous administration, but they're not finishing the wall. They're saving lives by cleaning up the mess. And hey, did you know that Donald Trump spent money on a wall? Not us, though. We're just cleaning up the mess. Like, it was...
I legitimately feel bad for her because you can see her mentally wrestling. Like, she does so many mental gymnastics up there that I could have used that gymnastics clip at any point. But
yeah, no, that whole thing, yeah.
But yeah, she's saying walls are ineffective and a waste of taxpayers' dollars. But we're going to finish off this area of the wall, but the wall is ineffective. So we shouldn't have the wall, but we're finishing off this area of the wall so it'll save lives.
We're not finishing the wall. Yeah, you are. I know he was just trying to get her to answer something, but I would have been like, yes, you are. This is literally finishing that part of the wall.
That part, yeah.
And it's
her argument would be, yeah, but we're not finishing the entire wall. We're just closing in that one part. It's not finishing the wall.
Why, if they're not effective?
Right.
Like it's
yeah,
just...
and
is it racist? And she's like, I don't know how you got to that. Because you call walls racist. And so did your candidate who's now president. That's why. And by the way, we're not fans of walls. Like, we do believe that they're ineffective, and we do think that they're a bad use of money, and we do think that the government is creating the crisis on the border with this kind of nonsense. So say that and then do it. Like, don't say that and then continue doing what Trump did.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, cleaning up his mess. This was John Kerry explaining how the war in Iraq that he voted for was the unprecedented, unmitigated failure and needed to end. And that's why when he gets into office, he's going to stay the course, because we have to complete the job that's been done, which is terrible and ineffective and failing. Karine Jean-Pierre was probably 12 when that happened. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know
I would have liked to have seen her try to square that circle. So, thankfully, though, there are much better speakers in this administration. And no, I'm not talking about Joe Biden, a well-known classical orator who's only gotten better, if anything, over time. Matt, we are, of course, talking about the Vice President of the United States of America, who fair and square beat me after a series of debates with me. Kamala Harris.
Deep Thoughts by Kamala Harris.
And, listen, women are getting pregnant every day in America. And this is a real issue, and we need to act with a sense of haste.
I mean, you got 9 months to do something about it.
People are going to say that I edited that out of context, and I will respond with, she took a 4-second pause after that word. I don't think I edited it wrong.
Was this in relation to abortion, or?
Yes. People will say that I edited that out of context, but she's the one that made the pause 4 seconds long. And it was like, we need to act with haste. 2, 3, 4. When the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Okay.
I've made videos, and we've talked on this show, and I've interviewed. We're very clear. Like, government is going to make the issue of abortion worse. If they get, the more involved they are, the worse it's going to get. And we've talked about that ad nauseum. If you are trying to sell a pro-choice or keep government out of our decisions type of argument, one of the worst ways to do it is to say we must act with haste because women are getting pregnant. Like, that is, like, you're basically saying a bunch of babies are going to get born.
That's what,
if we don't act now. Like, it's really just a bad way of framing an issue.
It's a terrible way of framing an issue.
It's like the worst way
of framing.
It's like a caricature of how you would frame that. Wow.
Yeah, I honestly, so initially I was going to use a completely different video for this week's Deep Thoughts with Kamala Harris. And then I saw that one, and I felt that was a much better video to use over her giving her pronouns and saying that she is a woman sitting at the head of the table in a blue suit.
Wow. That was so. I want to say something about that. So supposedly, that was for and because she didn't, it wasn't just her. It was like a bunch of people, and they were all saying, "I am also a woman, and I am in a gray blazer and sensible shoes." And the reason that they were doing this was it was a council for the hard of hearing or something like that, or not hard of hearing. That's why they were yelling, "I'm wearing a blazer." No, it was it was the it was something related to blind people or people that have hard of vision, whatever it is, where you're not blind, but I guess like me have really bad vision.
Yeah, visually impaired in some way.
Visually impaired. There it is, visually impaired.
I
But I guess
my PC
just enough where they
classes
can
from the
see.
90s.
Yeah, no, I visually impaired. But my whole thing, and I've still not had this answered. I've had a lot of people angrily tweet at me when I've asked, how does this help them? Like, okay, let's say someone's completely blind, and I say, "Hi, my name is Spike Cohen. I am a man. My pronouns are he and him, and I am currently wearing a white button-down shirt." Oh!
What? Yeah, I don't...
Like, what?
paint's a better
Well, then now that means something. Someone who's, especially if someone's been born blind, they don't even know what that means. Like, what's white? Like and someone who used to have vision and now doesn't. It's not relevant to I posed this when it first came out. I said, why is this? And they went, "Oh, it's because it's for blind people." And I said, "Well, that makes sense, but why?" And they're like, "Oh, I guess you don't care about blind people." It's like, no, I care enough to ask why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Has this been asked for? And if so, why?
By whom and why?
By whom and for what purpose? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that, a blind person's going to say, "Oh, no, it's because it does this and that." Okay, great. But if I've just gotten a bunch of anger, which usually means I don't know either, but I'm not happy you're asking. And that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
But yes,
I would have to speak to somebody who is visually impaired on the visual impairment spectrum, from worse than us,
wow,
to completely blind.
Somewhere in between us and blind, yeah.
Yeah, like, because you and I think in addition to being the exact same height and our hands being the exact same size, I'm pretty certain our eyesight's the exact same.
It's so weird because we don't look a thing alike. But then on those two metrics, we're like identical. It's
and then we both. I wear glasses or contacts. Usually on the show, I wear contacts, but I think our vision's like basically the exact same too.
Probably.
Yeah. And so, like, with me and him, we can tell if somebody's wearing a blue suit from 20 feet.
Yeah.
But so I would want to ask somebody who has vision much worse than we do, to completely blind, is that something you care about? Is that something you need? Because if so, I'll be like, I'm wearing a black shirt. I'm wearing the same black t-shirt I wear every day.
Just about. I want to go up to people and say, "Hey, how many fingers up am I holding up?" And if they're like 4, I'll be like, "Okay, great. Listen, I am a man, and now hear me out. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm wearing a whatever I'm wearing at that day."
Right.
And if they say, "Oh, thank you so much," then I'll know that this was a good thing. If they go, "Who the hell? Why? I don't care. Get the hell out of my face." Then I'll know that this was a virtue signal. Now, thankfully, the government rarely, if ever, virtue signals. And really recently, I'm doing good on the segues today.
You are doing good
recently,
on the segues today.
The government proved
clean.
that. The House of Representatives proved that they don't virtue signal. Right, Matt?
Well, or they proved that's all they do.
Oh, crap.
So the House virtue signaled to their bases today that they are not just there to deliver tater tots and ripe pears after tragic incidents when guns and tragic incidents with guns, and passed the first official weapons ban in the United States since 1994. The very close vote was 217 to 213, with 5 Democrats voting against the bill, and 2 Republicans guaranteeing that they will probably lose their primaries. This means that the bill will now move on to the Senate where, well,
yeah,
nothing's gonna happen. I didn't read.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I didn't even read this bill. Like a lot of my friends, obviously we lean libertarian.
We're lean L's. Yeah, we lean L.
We lean L. So many of our friends are very big on the Second Amendment and gun rights, as are we. But they kind of stressed out about this, and I explained to many of them that you would need 10 Republicans and all 50 Dems to vote for this thing in the Senate in order to get past the filibuster, and you won't get that if Biden's president. If a Republican's president, you get it. You absolutely get it, because we all know Republicans, when in power, pass gun control legislation.
Yep.
But with a Democrat in power, you're not going to get 10 Republicans to switch over and say, yeah, let's vote for this weapons ban. Not happening.
Typically, not always, but typically, a Democrat president and a Republican, either split or Republican Congress, is usually the best recipe for usually worst case scenario gridlock, and sometimes best case scenario, like during the Clinton years, them trying to outdo each other on who's the most lean with government. That's become less so over time, where now they're all just big government cronies. But when it comes to this specific issue, if thankfully on this issue there's a Democrat president, and it's likely the Republicans are going to retake at least one of the houses, if not both of them, and which means that this isn't going to pass, and any real meaningful gun control isn't going to pass. Now, they did pass that nonsense earlier that frankly, they're not going to be banning guns, but what they are going to be doing is ramping up the criminal justice system to deal with existing gun crimes and strengthening those gun crimes like we talked about in previous episodes. That's the real threat. Because it doesn't matter what gun they ban if they ban you from having one and put you in jail for 15 years for it. This is kind of, it's a virtue signal, but it's kind of a two-way virtue signal. The Democrats' virtue signal that they're going to fight for, against gun nonsense and fight for gun safety, not gun control, we don't call it that anymore, but gun safety. And then the Republicans are going to virtue signal, we're protecting your Second Amendment rights, even as we work with Democrats to make it increasingly illegal for you to own a firearm.
Because as we discussed last week with the bipartisan safety, I don't remember the name of the bipartisan bill that had to do with gun safety. Community Safers Act, the bipartisan Community Safers Act. That was introduced by Marco Rubio. It made it where you, as a legal gun owner, could potentially go to a state where you aren't allowed to have a gun, and then you would get charged with gun trafficking.
Yep.
And that's a 15-year prison sentence federally.
Yep. For breaking a state, in some cases, misdemeanor.
Yes.
It becomes a federal felony. That's the real problem, not this nonsense.
Yeah, not this. This isn't going to pass.
This is not going to pass.
Nobody needs to worry about this one. I wanted to put it in just because a lot of people were stressing about it. But there is nothing to worry about with this. If it passed with a 4-vote margin in the House with Nancy Pelosi in charge, this thing is not getting through the Senate. This is not going to happen. Worry about the things that are actually going to happen. And you know what else is really going to happen? Tomorrow night, you're going to get another brand spanking new episode of The Muddied Waters of Freedom, and that you can bank on. That is both a warm tater tot and a delicious right pair. I've been wanting pears and tater tots ever since you said that. All I want right now is potatoes you've been wanting tater tots for like 10 years.
For several years, yeah. I can have, I'm not sure a tater tot, but I can have potatoes. I've been wanting potatoes and pears ever since you said that.
Can you have potatoes?
I'm literally going.
I think you could.
It depends on how they're cooked, but yeah.
Okay.
So, I know what's about to happen. I'm going to go get some potatoes and pears. I'm literally going to eat potatoes and pears after this. I'm going to go do that. And you guys are going to, tomorrow, you're going to get another amazing episode of the Muddied Waters of Freedom, where we're going to be talking about something that could be nothing or possibly end the world and all life on it. And it's really one or the other.
But
kind of
no matter which one it is, it will affect how much money you have to spend on certain goods. No matter which one it is.
That's true. That is true. Whichever one of those happens, well, you're kind of screwed. But you tune in tomorrow night for another episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom. And, of course, don't forget, in the meantime, because we're doing our episode tomorrow, but then we're doing another episode on Saturday. And we can't even tell you what that one's about. Because we don't. Well, anyway, we're not going to tell you. Even if we didn't know, we're not going to tell, because it's only for subscribers. And it's going to be fantastic. We'd love to have you be a part of it. If you go to anchor.fm/muddywaters/subscribe, for only $10 a month, you get to be a part of that. You get to get our exclusive subscriber-only episodes, all sorts of other subscriber-only content. Coming up are going to be my panels that I did on Freedom Fest, including my panel on gun rights with Maj Touré, where I called a bunch of Republicans and cops a bunch of slaves. So that'll be fun. But and you only get that if you're a subscriber. You only get it if you're a subscriber. And you also get ad-free viewing and listening experience on all the various podcasts by the magic of the RSS, whatever that is. So anchor.fm/muddywaters/subscribe. Folks, we love you so much. We will see you tomorrow. And where we're going,
we don't need roads.